But yeah, you told me it's very whatever, and then Kyle, who knows my taste pretty good, he's like, yeah, dude, you probably won't like it.
I watched the first third of the first episode, and I was like,
yeah.
I turned it off, watched something else. Thought, okay, I will give it another shot because people are
going nuts.
Yeah, people are going nuts, and some people that I know are, making comments about it and whatever. And then, so I've now seen most 2+ episodes. So 2 into the third episode. It's a fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah.
It's the
Some
worst
people like
people.
That. Some people
it's
like
the
that.
Worst fucking. There isn't anybody that's like got any redeeming quality to them at all. So it's like, fuck.
I don't really like that because it's like it's a documentary, right?
Yeah. I was actually just listening to a podcast talking about the show, but there was a podcast called Joe Exotic about the same story.
Previous to the show.
Yeah, previous to the show. Yeah. There are more characters in the show, but they shot solidly for 5 years.
For this documentary.
They have so much shit.
Yeah. It's just not my style, I think. Like, and right now there's like good shit out. And obviously that's, up to you to decide what you think good shit is. But I think Ozark's one of the best shows maybe ever.
You just started it, right?
No, I'm just on season 3.
Oh, okay. You started.
I've watched season 1 and 2 twice already over the previous years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
that's a show I should watch, and I haven't, and I'm sure I would like it.
Yeah, it's like it's not, but it's like of the vibe. It's like a Dexter, Breaking Bad-ish vibe, right? I really like it, and then I'm a nerd, obviously. So Clone Wars came out with the final season of Star Wars cartoon, but like shit I'm into rather than watching some meme shit just to waste time.
Yeah, just to be able to talk about it. But
and I'm all for wasting time. But the other thing is, which is on topic today, the movie Platform.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen. Shout out to Profe, my homie in Belgium, said is amazing. He came out with a very poor description of it and told me, bro, it's prisoners eating each other. I've watched it twice already. I was like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, that's
just what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I said that's probably not my type of movie.
Yeah.
But then Kyle watched it and explained it to me, and he explained it more of it's kind of like the sociology, human vibe underlying of this sci-fi-ish type world. It's like he said like kind of a thriller. He said it gets a little dark, but he said more so like the underlying stories about how people act, obviously under stress or something. And it's this prison with layers, basically. And I haven't seen it yet, but because I only watch TV late at night, and if it's weird, I don't want to watch it at midnight when I'm going to sleep. I want to watch it in the middle of the day. I that's why I watch Clone Wars before I'm going to sleep. Like,
so you don't have nightmares.
I'm gonna dream about Yoda. That's cool. Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to dream about weird shit. But so I guess it's this layered prison, vertical prison, and the top it's randomized who gets into what cell, and the top guy starts with a huge plate of food, and then the food goes downwards towards the bottom.
Okay.
Right, and that's just how they're fed, and then they're stuck there, and that's the basis of this whole thing. And I guess there's obviously also layers to the movie itself, but it's about when do you eat, who do you eat, how do you eat, what do you share, do you not share, et cetera, which takes us to our time now, right? And like how people are acting, how people are like my biggest pet peeve, and there might be a hair of jealousy in it if I'm being super self-aware, because I'm not good. I think I'm okay at marketing, but I'm not good at like virtue signaling or like selling myself. And in the day and age of Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, these people are so good. They're so good at like virtue signaling. And so like these people out here that are preaching all this stuff, and like, and even you and I, we got in a discussion on my Instagram to a guy who's kind of like ripping us for a way of not being responsible with how we're doing the podcast. And I'll fucking address you, pal. Like literally me and Kyle were talking about, I was like, bro, it's been a month and I've seen Connor, Kyle, and Jim.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen my mom.
Oh yeah.
I've only gone to the grocery store once.
Yeah. Oh really? The whole time?
The whole time.
You getting stuff delivered? Or
1 week I was getting stuff delivered, and then this other week I just stocked up, and we stocked up 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So like I'm being responsible as I can.
Yeah.
Like Jim's wife's a nurse. I walked in the house and she said, "Hey, sanitizer right there." I'm like, "Gotcha." Right, we're doing what we can. Where other people on the internet, and I'm not going to name names, but you guys can find them out, or virtue signaling this and that about how they're acting, and do the right thing, and social distancing, and we didn't touch each other, but they're still like having friends over left and right. right? And they're showing it on their Instagram like a week after they're preaching to self distance or social distance, and then on their Instagram you see it like 3 days later they're having like not parties but people over, they're seeing different characters in their life over and over. I'm like, dude, that's the issue there. It's not the issue of seeing like one person, and it's not the issue of seeing your mom, it's not the issue of going to the grocery store. It's like having a variety, because then that variety is going to another variety, right? It's just so like illogical. But my biggest pet peeve is these people trying to virtue signal. And that's their way, or the home workout stuff. Like, am I selling a home workout? Yes, but that's because I got 100,000 DMs asking me what should I do at home, and I'm trying to give you the optimal way. But it's how you sell it, it's how you market it. I'm not telling you this is going to help your squat. I'm not telling you this is going to get you ripped. I literally saw today on Facebook someone said, get shredded at home program. And I'm like, all right, man. Like, can you get shredded at home? Like, yeah, I guess.
Just don't eat.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
But this isn't the optimal way to get shredded, and I'm not taking advantage of this situation to sell you this thing. My audience came to me asking, like, Mike, I'm stressing, I'm at home, I can't move, how am I going to lose my gains? And I'm going to try to give you as optimal as I can right now with no equipment, rather than all these people taking high advantage of people under stress, marketing, virtue signaling, and that's what pisses me off, number one. And I'm no angel. It's not like I'm going out there sewing face masks. I'm not saying that either, but I feel like I'm doing my part to stay moral to myself and what I'm selling in my business, and stay moral to myself and the society, doing my part of just sitting on my couch.
Yeah, and you're also trying to make a business survive through a very difficult time, for sure, right?
Yeah. No doubt do I want to make money, but I'm just not going to tell you that this is your solve for all your fitness goals.
Yeah. It pays to a little bit undersell and overperform,
That's our goal. I mean, literally in our post today, it says, like, we're not going to help you deadlift 600 pounds with this program.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't think that's reasonable at all. Yeah, that's one of the things that definitely bothers me about this whole setup. Another thing that is bugging the shit out of me, and I'm going to say it one time, I'm probably going to put it on my Instagram one time, and then I'm going to stop. But people keep referring to this as quarantine. It's not quarantine.
Yeah. And I probably have been guilty of it too, but I've also had discussions. I was talking to our boy Simon, and because there was a real warning of a quarantine in New York, potentially. There was talks of it, where, like, it's okay to go outside. It's okay to stay in home's different. You can call it whatever you want. Quarantine is just the easiest thing to say.
It is the easiest thing to
say.
That's.
But I do agree that majority of people probably don't know what that means.
Yeah, quarantine means you're sick or you've been exposed to someone who's sick. Right. So you're not having any contact with anybody.
Right.
And then it's not a medical professional.
And
that's
then the extreme is, like, martial law, and the government's telling us all to stay in and making sure you stay in, and none of that's happening either.
Well, then we've got, Arizona, where they won't make a stay-at-home proclamation, and they're not, the mayors of different cities are not allowed to have those either. That's like crazy.
Why? Like what? Like literally here, it's like basically a very firm recommendation. That's not
but you can leave your house. There's nobody out, and it's not been going. It was less this weekend, but the last weekend, man, the basketball court that's like one house from my house. There were pickup games. They're all freaking weekend. There's a guy in a Mustang, a red Mustang convertible, that parks out there like every fucking day.
Yeah, and I get it. If the court's empty and you want to shoot around by yourself,
yeah,
go ahead. I think it was the New York governor, and we won't get too political because I know there's a lot going on between him and the rest of the world, but he did have a really funny clip where he's freaking out about people playing basketball, and he's screaming. I assume he's an Italian guy, so he's like screaming.
Cuomo, I think so.
Yeah. He's fucking screaming at people like, you can't play basketball and keep 6 feet of distance and be treating each other. And if you do, you fucking suck at basketball. And he's like freaking out. I was like, yeah, man. Like, I get it. I do get, I'm lucky because I like my house and I like what I do. So I'm not getting like cabin fever to scream. And if I did, I'd just probably go for a walk by myself, which I did the other day. But I understand that a lot of you probably are. A lot of you are extroverts, and you probably are getting really cabin fever because you're not used to being at home that much, where I am. But there's much other things to do than play a contact sport.
Yeah, and I just moved all this stuff home like at the beginning of the month, which like I feel like I'm fortune teller in that regard. That was like really well timed. because I drove by there the other day and there's nobody in that parking lot because it's primarily like lawyers and therapists and stuff, which leads me to having had my first like video therapy session the other day. And my guy has a super crappy connection on his side. It dropped out like 3 times. I kind of felt like I maybe should have gotten a discount
refund
for the amount of time that we were not talking. But, you know, I mean, it's not that much stranger than doing it in person, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet. Especially if it's the same therapist you've been with and you kind of know him a little bit.
Yeah, I think it would be weird to do it with somebody that I had never talked to before, especially you know, face to face with cameras.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's difficult. And like you and I said, like why we podcast in person, and we obviously enjoy in person guests, but it's just too complicated sometimes. Is like the flow is different. That's why
flow's different.
That's why Mama's Boys went broke trying to travel everywhere because the flow, like even in business meetings or podcasts, I did a couple weeks ago on Skype. It's just like the 0.005 second delay can ruin when to talk, when to joke, when to not talk.
Yeah, because you can like in post you can edit those out, but the flow is different for sure.
Yeah. And another thing I read,
we're 6 feet apart, just so everybody was wondering.
The other data I read, it was like a data survey or something, is in California, I believe each county by county, what the percentage of like traffic or movement has stopped or not stopped. And that was kind of surprising.
Yeah, it's like down 46% or something
total,
like
but
that.
like some places are only 20%.
Yeah.
Sacramento in general is only like 40%, which kind of surprised me. And it doesn't surprise me based on like, I'll go out, you know, every third day to go grab a coffee or something, to go, you idiots. And even though I drove by a coffee shop and some dudes are sitting out front, I'm just like, why? Like, I get it. I get it. I'm human. I get it. Yeah. But I also don't get it. Like, just drink that coffee at home or walk with your roommate. And if it's not your roommate, you probably shouldn't be with them, or family, obviously. If it's not your family or someone in your household, just, it's all right to not see your little buddy Jimmy for a week. It's okay. Yeah. Like, you can FaceTime. I hate talking on the phone. I'm calling my mom. Like, you can figure out ways.
Did you FaceTime mom or just?
No, we didn't. I don't even know. I'm sure she knows how, but we just talked on the phone. I don't know why she didn't FaceTime me. Yeah, we just talked on the phone. But like, driving around Sac, it feels normal. Because driving over here today, right now,
except the air is really clear.
It's a little clearer. Yeah, but we did have rain, and it's nice. But me and Connor are looking around like, bro, if we didn't listen to the news and didn't know what's going on, like, I would think today's pretty normal.
You can tell if you look at the freeways, though. They're pretty far down.
I don't really go at freeways. And if you look at some of the normal stores, like on J Street here in Sacramento is like our main downtown street. There's a lot of like antique stores and like art supply stores and camera shops. Yeah. That looks pretty sad. But there's cars on the street. There's cars driving. There's cars parked. There's people kind of walking around.
Yeah.
Feels normal, and it's a nice day today, so like I understand why people are walking around, but it feels normal-ish. Where I think Sonoma County is like 70% down in movement and travel. It makes sense. There's less to do out there, but
some of the rural counties,
right,
there's nothing around, so you have to drive. Right, it's not going to change that.
Yeah, you got to drive 5 miles to go to the grocery store or whatever. Yeah. I'm trying to get some fucking eggs. I don't want to shout out Simon again because I absolutely hate him, but Simon, he just won't keep bothered. Did I tell you this last time?
No,
he won't, because you don't know the headlines other states get about your state, right? Because like, he lives in New Mexico. Like, New Mexico probably doesn't really care about California's internal issues, but to get New Mexico residents to read a article about California, it has to be clickbaity.
Yeah.
And so I think the article he read, I assume, was like, California's out of eggs. So he keeps asking me about eggs, and I was like, bro, I don't know about our eggs. Like, I'm worried about like other things with California in particular, right? Like, I'm worried about, you know, how many cases in my area and elderly and whatever. I'm reading the news and I'm listening to the governor talk. I don't know about eggs, bro. And he hit me up 5 days about eggs. I'm like, I don't know. Then I go to Safeway. I'm trying to get some fucking egg whites, and there's no egg whites. And I'm like, God damn it!
No egg whites.
There's no eggs either.
Oh, no eggs.
There's nothing.
Compton's.
I've never been, but we keep driving by it.
3 blocks from here, or whatever it is. Yeah. They had eggs the other day. They were all flats, though.
What's that mean?
The big ones.
Oh, we can do that.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, is it 18?
Yeah, it's not
something
bad.
like that.
Yeah,
they had them the other day, but it changes from day to day.
I think mass-produced eggs are very limited right now. I think it's like organic and individual farms you can find, which makes sense for that.
We typically buy organic, so I don't know, or not necessarily organic, but like
free
range-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, at our regular grocery store, like our commercial-ish one downtown, there was the whole shelf, 5 shelves were empty. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Well, the one that's pissed me off is yeast, because I know like yeast is gone, and actually like flour was hard to find, and I managed to find some at Compton's the other day, and there's just no yeast anywhere. I ordered some off of Amazon.
I'd imagine just because we're in California and we're pretty, agricultural, we might get hit less. Because I even remember like growing up as a kid and going to Cleveland, where my dad's from, and sometimes it would be like you literally can't find strawberries depending on the season. Where that's never the case here. Like you can find a strawberry. There's a season that tastes better and there's more and whatever. But like in the middle of the country, I imagine sometimes you just can't get shit. Sometimes.
Yeah, I think we're lucky to be able to get a lot of that kind of fresh produce stuff that other places don't really have access to. We actually went to the farmers market yesterday.
Yeah.
And definitely fewer people there than normal, but everybody was maintaining distance and
figuring it out.
Yeah, my wife had her hand sanitizer anytime she had like took something from someone, just like put it in the thing and then clean your hands. And I didn't touch anybody or anything. I dragged the wagon around. She's got one of those like expando wagons to put all the stuff in, and
it is weird because we don't know the long-term implications of this, like little things, right? Like it's pretty common, I believe, in Japan, at least big cities, where people do just wear face masks out of being polite, basically. Like that could be the norm here, and I'm not like against it, but like that's a huge tiny change.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it it makes you specialize in eye acting.
yeah It's just weird. I don't know, man. I don't know. Or like little things like homeschooling, I think we talked about. There's like jokes or like people talk like, well, like homeschooling or like internet therapy, online teaching, schools could just disappear. And like when you think about budget and you think about some other things like big business wise or big government wise, it kind of makes sense. Like one teacher could teach 1,000 kids via the internet.
Potentially. I don't know if the quality would be the same. But...
So my mom just applied for a job, and basically what they do is they have one teacher that teaches the masses, and then they hire tutors underneath. And those tutors stream in also, but they'll get the kids that just can't pass tests. So it's like college for kids. These kids go in and basically get a lesson to pass a test, and if they don't pass the test, then a tutor will be assigned to kind of get you up to speed, which obviously I disagree with wholeheartedly. I've talked about multiple times here. Just what I think about the education system as a whole is probably it's not talked about at all in the politics, because there are bigger issues obviously right now with COVID and things. There's huger issues, but they're talking about global warming. I'm all for fixing what we can. There's a lot of issues we have to talk to, but education is just never brought up anymore. Our teachers don't get paid shit. We're just getting dumber. People are getting more ADHD. Kids are getting less creative. Kids are getting like zero critical thinking. Zero critical thinking. And at a time like this is when you need critical thinkers. Sure, we need some, obviously scientists, doctors, et cetera, but within each department, if you don't have critical thinking on top of just the random textbook knowledge you have, we're all fucked.
Yep, that's true. Sam, my son Sam, is he's working on a teaching credential, so he's got to substitute teach for a year, and none of that's happening right now. He's like we're going to work on a bunch of projects around here once I get on the other side of this consulting project that I'm doing right now. Yeah. That's the thing too. I haven't had any time that I was just sitting on my ass completely not doing anything at all, other than the couple of hours a day that I lose to like reading articles about what the fuck is going on with us.
I haven't really had that like, oh fuck man, I better watch this Tiger King shit, because like I just in my world I'm taking advantage of it. We're still podcasting, planning podcasts. Me and Connor are still YouTubing. I'm still Twitch streaming every day. Like it's pretty normal for me. I can't lift, but otherwise I'm just streaming 2 more hours than I would.
I don't watch TV during the day.
Yeah, I don't either.
Ever, except that I made an exception because I watched all of Picard on CBS All Access because I'm a giant Star Trek nerd, as you might be able to tell by
some of the decor.
Yeah, some of the decor in here. Anyway, and so I would watch that on Thursday mornings because it comes out on Thursday, and then go on with the rest of my day. But like with this consulting thing I've got going on, it's winding up pretty soon. But I just really haven't had that. Like I don't have anything to do. Plus, just put a bunch of work into getting the website for this show finally ready to launch.
And we have another project that we were trying to move, and now we're slowly moving.
Completely stuck.
Yeah, now we're snail moving.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that either. That's we just don't know what's going to happen with the economy. That's the problem.
Yeah, but we'll see.
So,
topic of the day.
Topic of the day.
Stress, big time stress, how people interact, which is interesting because we brought it into a sports version on a show last year. Basically, are you born clutch? What does clutch mean?
Yeah.
And I think situations like this are very similar, except like in a game situation, it kind of like turns to your inner core. Like, are you competitive, I think, or do you have it? Now I think it almost turns to, are you like lack of a better word, a good human, right? Like what, and then to what extent? Like, and I'll agree, like, are there things I could probably do to help this thing? Like maybe I could donate money. I don't really have much money for myself, and maybe I'm being selfish, and I probably have more money than some people, but I am struggling now. You know, like you always weigh these things on yourself, but there, you know, you see these stories online of people at home following the qualifications and making masks for hospitals and stuff like that, and like that's going above and beyond, which is amazing. And then you find people on the other end, right? Like these kids in Miami partying and not caring, or like making jokes about it and licking toilet seats everywhere, like.
One of those guys got sick. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Or like, and then like a whole nother part of it that like whether you're ignoring it or not. I think it was a church recently that was still meeting and a choir still meeting. And two of them I think two of them ended up dying in this certain choir because they were meeting every single day, practicing their choir or whatever. Point being, we're talking to an addiction specialist, a psychiatrist who understands a lot about humans in multiple areas, and the psyche of it, and why do people do this? Is it like entitlement? Do you think, you know, like the world owes you something, so you're going to do whatever the hell you want to do? You know, there's something. Shout out to my high school coach, Dean Stark. He just always said, you know, be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Right.
And on a basketball team, that kind of makes sense. Like, all right, I'm going to do these little sacrifices so the team wins. Maybe I'm not the lead scorer, maybe I'm not the star, but I want the team to win. I'm going to sacrifice these little things, and that's so easy to me, I think, because I always found that if you do those things, you do become the star, and I want to be the star. Like,
right.
It's all win for me. Like, for the basketball heads out there, like taking a charge, like for Jordan to play defense, like little things like that go a long way, and that's why Michael Jordan is who he is. Where some stars don't see that and they don't want to play defense. They're like, oh well, they only remember scorers. These are big picture now in this epidemic. The little picture, that's easy for me to do. Big picture, sometimes I just don't know how, whether I'm lazy, whether I'm selfish, or I don't know.
I'm thinking about this the way I think about alcohol, like other drugs, steroids even.
Yeah.
That people tend to become kind of more of what they were or what they are.
Yeah.
More, if you're an asshole, you're more of an asshole.
Yeah. I wonder
stress.
how true that is, like on a psychiatric stuff, because like anecdotally, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I have heard that there are studies recently saying that people, when they're drunk, it's not whatever they were holding back that comes out. It's that they literally like think differently, so they're kind of a different person.
Yeah, and
I believe that.
Yeah.
But that's obviously quite unpredictable. Who knows?
But yeah, you and I have heard inside outside that steroids are the same. Like yeah, if you're a raging bitch, you're gonna be on drugs, and now you're gonna punch walls down. Like
yeah.
But if you don't have anger management issues, like they're all escalated, and you've heard that with like other drugs or other alcohols too. I don't know.
Paranoia is one of those ones that comes out of weed for some people. Definitely comes out of some of the battery of steroids that are out there.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
They tend to make people more paranoid. Some people more paranoid. More protective of their whatever it is that they have, and partners and imaginary partners and all that, you know. And I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to it to me. I'm a pretty mellow drunk, so I don't know. Yeah,
I am too. I'm not mellow, rowdy, but I'm kind of the same person. I'm just loud. Like me on a lot of caffeine is kind of like me on some whiskey. Really? Yeah, kind of.
So what before, as we were talking earlier, like what did you guys finish?
So we didn't have that much, so it's not like we just got hammered, but we only so I've had like a handle of Crown Royal probably for a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like we'll only drink once a month.
Yeah.
So it just sits there, obviously. And we were playing video games. Shout out my homegirl 5x5. If you guys are into video games, 5x5, my homegirl Sienna is a beast. She streams all the time. She streams late nights for all the Euro cats. And once a week, her and I started to play together.
Yeah.
Just super cool chick. Just randomly met her on Twitch. She's from Toronto. And she's kind of quiet. She's like super nice, but kind of quiet. And me and Kyle come in all drunk on Tuesday. We just had a couple whiskey cokes. but I gamed like I felt like a kid. I gamed until like 2:00 in the morning. I haven't done that in like 12 years. We were just having so much fun. Like we're playing, new game came out, just jamming out. But just Crown and Coke, just simple guy.
Yeah,
I like some red wine, but I don't really like. I don't go to the store to buy these things because I don't drink it often, so I never think about it.
I went to Total Wine the other day because I was actually looking for a cheap bottle of high proof whiskey to use for hand sanitizer because thought we were entirely out, and it turns out that like when we dug through the cupboards, like there was some, so I don't really have to make it at this point.
Yeah, but that's another thing I've seen on Instagram. Shout out to homegirl Maria, who was on the show a while ago. I saw her on her Instagram. She's making hand sanitizer at home and giving it to some of her nurse friends. Like, that's cool. Like that's above and beyond in these situations.
Right.
Or maybe I'm a bum. I'm just trying to entertain you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we all do what we can, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, see, that's what I don't know. That's what the show's about. I don't know if people do what they can, and I don't even know if I do what I can.
Just briefly before we get to our guest, but like I'm wondering, like, everybody is doing more, pushing out more content, and a lot of it's like very live. Like, should we be doing that?
Yeah.
Or is it the space so noisy now that everyone's like, do people want to hear more from us, or is this enough, or is this
I think
too much, or
I think that's what I'm good at. That's what people tell me I'm good at.
Yeah.
So then I do more of it to try to entertain people that are stuck at home sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if should I be spending my time more wisely?
Yeah.
I don't know. Should I be doing more air squats?
Yeah, right.
So we have doctor.
Call you Doc?
Yeah, you can call me whatever you want. It's Dr. Reef Karim.
Dr. Reef Karim on the line with us. He is a frequent contributor on television, talking about a variety of things. But your background is psychiatry?
Yeah, so my background is mental health. So I'm a medical physician, and then I'm double board certified in psychiatry and addiction medicine, with an emphasis on neuroscience.
But more importantly, you're a top 100.
Oh, here we go.
Sexiest man on the planet. I mean, look, school's cool, helping people, that's all great and dandy, podcasting, whatever is all great. But that's got to be a top accomplishment. That's the only, like, you get a certificate, you get a picture. What do you get? You got to get something cool for that.
Well, I got lots of invites to really good parties. And that was the big thing, right?
Lots of direct messages from ladies.
Yeah, but the universe decided that I would be teased by getting the award, but then I had my appendix rupture the day that it came out.
No.
Oh my God.
I ended up being in the hospital for like 9 days, and
sucks.
I missed every one of those parties that I got invited to, which I don't know. It's it was an interesting time in my life.
Life can never be too good. They always balance you out.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I got too excited, and the universe is like, yeah, we got to shut this guy down.
Ego checks.
Yes, we got to do a quick ego check here.
So we were trying to connect last week, and you were making something of a harrowing journey back to the United States.
Oh man, that was crazy. So I was in Bali before all this craziness hit. Like as it was hitting, I was on a vacation, right? And it was better there than it is here, right? So it was great there. It was pretty quiet because it had already hit China, so nobody was there from China.
Right.
Nobody was there from Australians had already just left. So when we were there, it was like chill. I mean, we had our own pool, we had our own gym, there was no one around. It was a great vacation. But then we heard that flights back were going to be a problem, and the U.S. might start shutting things down. Hong Kong, we had a transit to Hong Kong, and we heard those flights might shut down. Bali's airport, because Bali was about 3 weeks later than us, so we felt like, okay, it's slowly starting to creep into this country, and the medical in that country is not near as good as the U.S. So we were like, man, if we get it, we want to be in the U.S. We don't want to be here.
Yep.
So we decided, and it was crazy. Our flight was leaving on a Thursday, and I was constantly checking with the embassy and the U.S. embassy and trying to figure out what was going on in Hong Kong. And so I was like, I think we need to leave on Tuesday and not Thursday. And so we changed our flights to Tuesday. We get to the airport and we see the board, you know, like when you look at a monitor and you see all the flights. And there was a movie that did this. I can't remember what movie it was, but all the flights were like switching to canceled, not operating, canceled. And there were only 2 flights that were still operating, ours and this one other. And so as we were getting on the plane, they make an announcement that like all the future flights going to Hong Kong were canceled. There would be no more flights at all because Hong Kong was shutting down, because Hong Kong was really good about the virus. And then they started to like be lax and say, okay, we can go to movies now. We can go back to work. We can do all that. And then they had a resurgence of the virus. So they were now shutting everything down. We were the last flight to go there. And then I heard that night, Bali airport shut down and they shut out a lot of flights coming in and going out. So we would have been trapped.
That's scary.
But we were lucky.
God, that's terrible. We have a friend who is in Vietnam right now. Yeah. He's been there over a year. He's like, I don't know, he's like dive mastering, or at least he was. You know, doing the expat thing. I have no idea. Like, I guess he's okay. Last time I heard, he had a little bit of a cough, but you know, I don't know. I don't know how it's going in Vietnam, to be honest with you.
Well, I have a feeling he's going to be there for quite a while longer.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't planning to come home anyway, so
yeah.
So he's escaping America for a lot longer than most people, I guess.
Yeah, which brings us to on topic in a way. I've seen multiple people. I'd like to justify it and say that I work on social media, but I may be addicted to social media. So I've seen a lot of people posting, and I have these people that are around my age. I'm 30, and they're like, "Yeah, man, cheap flights on tickets right now. I'm gonna head to Mexico and hop in a resort. Like, perfect time, man. Like, yeah, bro. Like, you want to come with me? Like, all right, buddy." Times like this make people tend to, you know, teeter-totter, right? And we were talking earlier, we do a segment before we have you on, and I don't know where I'm on this teeter-totter. I'd like to think I'm a good moral guy, and I'm doing my part to kind of sit at home. This is the only person, I haven't seen my mom. She lives 15 minutes away. I've only seen Jim here and my 2 roommates.
We're 6 feet apart.
Yeah, the only person I've seen in
I was going to say, that's looking more like 5.
We're probably like 4.5.
Exactly
yeah,
6,
we're probably 4.5. I sanitize my entire body on the way in. And so I'm doing my part. Am I going above and beyond? Probably not. I'm you know, I consider myself a creator and entertainer, and so I'm trying to do my job not only for my own livelihood, but maybe make some people laugh or learn something out there during these times. And then I'm literally sitting on my couch. I'm working. And that's it. I haven't left my house for the grocery store and gym, and that's it. But these people are running around like crazy. But then the opposite side, there are some people that are doing insane, heroic, for lack of a better term. Our friends at home, and she owns a small company, and she's using some of her time and resources to make homemade hand sanitizer by regulation, and hand it out to her nurse friends. Or you hear about some people that have seamstress skills, and they're doing the best they can to make face masks and kind of donate those things. So people tend to teeter-totter. I don't know if it's good and evil, if it's good or bad, if it's a good human, bad human. What mechanisms make people act a certain way under these high stress or crazy moments in life?
Well, crisis. I mean, my background is human behavior, and I've worked in the crisis world for a long time. I worked after 9/11. I've worked with people on Katrina. I've worked with the opioid epidemic for a long, long time. And, you know, what happens to all of us in crisis is we all have a certain way of dealing with it. And some people overreact and some people underreact to crisis. But it's not necessarily that they're choosing to act that way. They've been conditioned to act that way. I don't think that, I'd like to think that people aren't just really callous and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go to the beach and completely ignore this. I think they know what's going on. They're choosing to be in denial about it. And I think the other phase that comes into this is that we're in, especially in this country, but I think in a lot of countries, we're pleasure seekers, and people are very individualistic, and there's a strong selfish vibe that many people have, and I think so. For some people, they're reacting because they're in denial. They're like, I don't want to acknowledge the fact that mortality has come a lot sooner to people than ever before. And I think there's the denial group. I think there's the pleasure seeker group who are just like, look, I'm in it for me. That's what I'm in it for. And if I'm 28 and I don't think I can really, the worst that's going to happen to me is I'm going to get a little cold, then you know what? I'm in it for me. I'm going to do it for me. And if I can get cheap flights and, travel and like hit the beach, then I'm going to do it. And then I think there's those people that are like catastrophizers. Yeah. They're people that are overreacting to this, and they're constantly in fear. They're completely freaking out. They're panic stricken. And as a neuroscientist, I can tell you it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. But when we're super stressed or when we're panicked, we make very poor decisions and we're on edge. And when we're on edge, A, it's not good for us. But B, we're going to do stupid things because that's just the way our brains work. We're in this fight or flight survival mode, and we don't think about the other aspects of our life. And we end up paralyzed. We don't do anything with our life.
Do you have any experience dealing with conspiracy theories and why people believe them?
They are fun as shit. I'm a little guilty over here. I've been reading some weird stuff lately.
Because my understanding is that because in extraordinary circumstances that don't make sense, people try to make sense of things by taking little pieces of evidence all over and trying to just make a stew out of it that they just want to eat up. I guess I'm thinking about food right now, so apparently I'm extending that metaphor into food.
Well, we all want to make meaning out of something, and it depends what your stance is in life. If you're super religious, you might try to make meaning in some kind of religious context where, God wanted this for a specific reason because of what people, the way people were living, right? You could, if your predilection is political, and you're like, and from a global politics perspective, you could say Russia did this or China did this, or, you might think that way. If you're politically driven and it's more partisan, and what's happening between the Democrats and Republicans, you might be like, yeah, our president really screwed this one up, and your entire focus is on what the government is or isn't doing.
Right.
So I think people just come from their own vantage point, and they try to, the big picture is you try to make meaning out of it. And what's hard for me is that as a medical person is that, I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to say, okay, we have this threat, and it's a threat that's unseen, and it's a threat that can affect a lot of people, especially older people and immunocompromised people. We've seen what it's done in other countries. We have to take it seriously. We need to follow the protocols that other people that are smart infectious disease people are telling us to do, who are experts on this. And I'm not gonna lose it because of it. I'm gonna say this is an opportunity for me to focus on things I haven't in the past, and I'm not gonna get panic stricken. I'm gonna practice the best hygiene and infectious disease protocols that I can, but I'm also gonna look at, hey, I can clean my house, I can write that book I wanted to write, I can create music, I can do all sorts of stuff that I haven't had the time to do before. And I'm going to try to be as productive as I can while I help other people. And I happen to have a knowledge base in behavioral medicine and then mind-body connection and in personal development. So I want to go out and do podcasts like this, and I'm writing a manifesto, like a letter to the world about what's going on right now and how to make sense of it. And I think that can be really useful. I think a lot of people can be really useful right now. But unfortunately, I see a lot of people that are fear-stricken, or they're using it for their own gain. Like, there's sensationalistic news, there's political news, and it's hard to see what information is correct when that's happening.
Yeah, that's exactly what we talked about previous. That's my number one pet peeve. Like, I think it's irresponsible, and I'm not a big fan of the people going to the beach. And Jim was saying outside his house, there's 20 people playing basketball. I think that's irresponsible, but it doesn't really like piss me off. What pisses me off is people like trying to take advantage of the situation, whether it's for monetary gain or whatever it might be, and using people's fear to drive their business or to drive whatever agenda they have going on. I'd say I'm more similar to you, although I have zero medical background. I have zero background in anything. But I see an issue, and then I try to think of steps to fix an issue. And maybe that's just because I'm whatever business minded, or I'm sports minded, programming, strength and conditioning. That's my background. And so you have this goal to hit, and how do we do it? And right now the goal is to slow down this virus. Right? What are some simple steps for people that or maybe having like cabin fever, or the people that are not totally freaking out, because that might need your personal one-on-one attention for the people totally freaking out. But the people kind of in the middle-ish area that are stressed, they're having issues adjusting to this home life. People's routines have been uprooted. Yeah. That's like I think the day-to-day issue with most people and their stress, right? Like, sure, the virus is affecting many people, and we need to try to help that. And my love and prayers and positivity go out to those families. But the majority of us, it's more just our life's kind of been uprooted rather than we're being directly affected by that. What are some like tips and tricks to maybe kind of to I guess calm ourselves or to get used to life? Life is different right now.
Like this.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. So there's two categories you could be in for people that are listening, or even you guys. So the category is: are you in a crisis mode right now, or are you just homebound? And so if you're in a crisis mode, and it's because a family member is sick, or you have a mental health problem yourself, and you're more vulnerable because of that, or because, I've talked to a few people that are in recovery, right, from having an addiction, and they're closer to relapse now because of this. This is a stressor. This whole thing, the pattern interrupt, of this, and being homebound and changing your structure of your life and your schedule, that's more problematic. So some people are more vulnerable. So if you're in a crisis state, then you need to seek out some support. And that support can be from friends. It can be from telehealth with professionals. It can be calling a hotline. It could be just getting yourself in a stable place, because I don't want to dismiss like the importance of that. That's incredibly important if you're in a crisis mode. Now, if you're homebound, this is such a great opportunity for you to be doing so many things that you've ignored in your life. And it blows me away that, I could make a list of 100 things. I'm sure you guys could too, of things that you just blown off. Sure. I'm like, oh, I didn't clean my closet. I have it. I wanted to write that screenplay. I wanted to write that book. I wanted to organize my computer. I wanted to delete a bunch of emails. I wanted to, spend more time with my girlfriend who doesn't have the virus. I want to get on my network of people that I haven't reached out to, a lot of close friends or friends that I haven't talked to in ages, and I want to talk to them. There's a million things you could be doing right now in your life, but I feel like there's so many people that they can't handle the pattern interrupt. The fact that they have a schedule, and that schedule has been interrupted, and now they're not ready to make a new schedule for themselves, because that's how you have to view this. You have to say, okay, there's no one else that's giving me my schedule. I don't have a boss telling me to come to work at a certain time. I don't have things I absolutely mandatory have to do. So I need to create my own schedule. I need to create my own life. I need to empower myself to and motivate myself and be curious myself to go do some things that are good for me, that I want to do in my life. It could be physical fitness. It could be mental fitness. And I feel like those people that are just bored at home, or those people that aren't doing anything and are just sitting around, they don't have that inner strength. They don't have that mental fitness. They don't have that mental strength to be able to make their life better. Because the reality is, it could be 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, whenever this thing really passes, you can be a better person for having this time, or you could be a worse person for having this time.
Yeah.
But this thing is going to pass, and it's up to you to decide what kind of person you want to be.
It's crazy. It just dawned on me. I'm a college dropout. Probably stopped going to school full time when I was like 19, half time when I was like 20, 21. But for many people, I'd assume they've never had to make their own schedule.
Yeah.
When you're an infant, mama's doing everything. Junior high, high school, easy. College, you have to choose your classes so they don't overlap. Not that complicated.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you got the schedule made for you, and then you're going 9 to 5. You're literally going 9 to 5. And then, so you're right. Like, this literally is brand new world for some people, where Jim and I have kind of worked for ourselves for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so I did take, I'll fully admit, I took about 4 days where I just ate frozen pizza and played video games. And I was like, all right, this is weird. Like, I can't go to the gym. I can't film my normal YouTube content. Like, I'm a little stuck here. And then I was like, all right, this is going to be a little longer than I thought. Probably time to build a new schedule. And then I just built a brand new schedule. But that's new. I do that every 6 months probably anyways, as new projects or new things happen. So it's not that foreign to me. But I could see for some people that just absolutely driving them to, people shown here on the news every day that the biggest lines here in we're in California are the marijuana distributions in the alcohol stores. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I want a little glass of whiskey tonight too, because I'm a little stressed. But like, if that's like your go-to under these times, where that's an issue. That's a whole, like, the ripples. I've said this from day one, and I'm a dummy, but I knew from day one, like, the virus is an issue, but the ripples from this whole thing, obviously economically, everyone's talking about, but things you're bringing up, the addiction stuff, the stressor stuff, like, I think that's going to hit us a lot harder than people are expecting here.
Yeah, when you have a crisis, the first thing that happens is safety. That's like stage one, right? It's like, whether it's Katrina, 9/11, or this, am I safe? Am I in a safe place? Am I okay? Do I have this virus? Did I spread it to somebody? It's the stressor of safety. After that diminishes, or at least you're in a safe place, then it's the mental health stuff that kicks in. And it's like, in this case, it's, well, what do I do? What do I do with my life? Well, how am I going to make money? Well, is this thing ever going to end? I'm kind of lonely. What's up with that? Like, I have to create my own schedule. What's up with that? I'm bored. What's up with that? And and the other thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is escapism.
Yeah.
A lot of people escape on a regular basis. You escape through sports, which are not there. You escape through bars, which are not there.
Yeah.
You escape by sex, which is a little harder to do right now. You escape through dating. By picking up guys, picking up women being desirable and attractive to guys, or picking up guys. There are many, many ways that people escape, and we don't have those. So that's why you're seeing these big lines in front of weed dispensaries, and people are, I have a friend, he's putting out, well, he's not a close friend, but he's
associate. We call them associates around here. We don't have a lot of friends.
He's putting out like drunken videos because he misses sports. He's a sports junkie, and he misses sports so bad that he's alone at home. He doesn't know what to do. So he's drinking like Jack and Cokes or Jim Beam every night, and then when he's drunk enough, he's putting out videos, and they're ridiculous. They're kind of funny, but they're ridiculous. And then he literally spends his entire day getting ready for this video he's going to do at night, and when he starts drinking, and that's his entire life. And he even admits, he's like, when this is over and I'm done with all this, I'm probably going to be like, my liver's going to be shot. I'm going to be overweight, and I'm going to be a drunk, but at least I got through this. And I'm like, there's so many other things you could be doing besides that. And he's like, well, you got to teach me, man, because this is all I know how to do right now.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be sober and still get through this.
Yeah, right?
I think that a lot of people, too, who are suddenly working at home, like literally, like they go to an office and now they're at home and they don't have to get dressed by a particular time. And they just don't have, again, they don't have the same schedule, but they also don't have exactly the same financial concerns as the people who can't work at all.
Yeah.
And I want to tell those people, at least you still have an income.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe dwell on that and not the fact that you don't get a morning coffee break at the muffin place you want to go
Free
to,
crackers.
or you're not actually interacting with coworkers. You know, I mean, like Mike and I have been coworkers for a long time, but we don't have a lot of coworkers that
No.
we interact with.
Yeah, and it's through text.
Yeah.
Like I again, like I look at the positive. Like, man, I'm kind of a loner anyways. Like, this is kind of my life. Like, this isn't affecting me mentally as hard as other people. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, I think, last podcast too. Like, I get it. Now, people are probably very, like, they literally feed off human interaction, and I don't. So I can't relate to that because you give me a little video games at night. I text my friends during the day. I'm good socially. I don't need this social stuff to really stimulate me or make me happy. But there's a lot of people that need that 10 o'clock coffee break to say what's up to Timmy over there.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't have that, they're freaking the hell out.
I've seen people say that they're changing from their daytime pajamas to their nighttime pajamas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get it. But I mean, it just hasn't been that much different for me other than just
Same.
like, you know, I'm going to the store a
Yeah.
couple times a week and interacting with people there. My in-laws live 5 minutes away, and we haven't like been under one roof in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For sure. We talked to them on the street yesterday, you know. We
Megaphones.
Yeah, we went to the farmers market, which there was a lot of social distancing going on at the farmers market, believe it or not. You know, not a whole lot of people there, but we got strawberries. We dropped them off, like, you know, and checked on them, and that's all we can really do. And the first week or so, they were having a really difficult problem. My mother-in-law is 81, and she's a nurse, has been a nurse her whole life, and she was running until a couple of weeks ago, until the primary here in California. She was running voter registration for the League of Women Voters for this entire county, and she's 81. And so she just has a motor. She just can't. She had a lot of trouble slowing down until she finally got scared, I think, about interacting with people, because she's like, kind of want to go to the store, want to do this, whatever. It's like, nope, it's Instant Cart now, although I think they're on strike. But
Yeah.
you know, that kind of stuff. It's just sort of over time, it kind of dawned on her, and I just kind of wonder, like, we're definitely down like this for another month. Like, is it going to change more over time? Are some people going to see the light and other people are going to jump out a window? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, as I said, like, I think some people, everybody's on their own trajectory, and some people are in that safety mode for a long time, and some of them are just in it for a little bit. Then it's going to move to mental health issues, and you're going to start seeing that happening more and more as people start getting more stable from the safety perspective. And then the longer this goes, I mean, the majority of people I've talked to, they're able to hold on financially for a couple of months, right? Like the average person look, everybody's different, but the average person might have like savings for a couple months stored up. But then if this thing keeps going longer, you know, then let's say June, July, August, it's going to be a huge financial problem for people too. So it's not just going to be, and that's going to contribute to the mental health issues as well, that they're going to start freaking out about their finances. Because right now, look, it's really scary for people, but for those people that are chill at home, you know, they're probably chill because they're like, oh, I haven't had to work for a month. Okay, cool. You know, I can like hang out in my pajamas and play video games. But at some point, they're going to need the money. And that's when even the chill people are going to freak out.
Going back to like escapism or why can't I say that word? I swear I've stumbled on this word.
Compartmentalization.
That one.
Yeah.
Is there, you know, I've been in therapy basically my whole life as a kid, a little break in high school, and then back out as an adult. Is there a healthy time, and is there a benefit to that in some times like this for maybe the people that are in the gray area, that aren't in full crisis mode? Because in my head, like even little things I've noticed, I'm just like so freaking critical of myself. Look in a mirror, not a physical mirror, but a hypothetical mirror all day long, and how I act. I'm like, all right, I'm checking my bank account like way less than I normally do, because I know things are going to be rough right now, and I don't even want to see that number. Like, I'm making sure I have enough once a week instead of instead of budgeting every 3 days or 4 days, I'm looking at the bank account every other week because I don't want to see this mess.
Oh yeah, and investments, just don't look at those.
Yeah, you're
Just
not
don't
looking
look
at your
all.
stocks as much. You maybe don't want to see. Maybe you used to watch the news every single night, and now you just want to watch it once every other night. Is there some healthy stuff, or again, like the video games? Like I stream for a living, so I self-justify it by making money off of it. But I used to stream for 4 hours a day to people live stream on the internet. Now I'm playing like 6 or 7, and 100% I know, like, part of that is I just don't want to deal with this mess of the world, and it's the only job I can do right now at home. I can't go to the gym and film content, right? For me, more specifically. So I hop into that. But for the normal person, is there a time where, a little whiskey might be okay, or a little video games might be okay, a little extra something?
Define the something.
I guess the whiskey or the video games.
Something is there. But so another thing that I talk to people about is stimuli filtering. And so when I say stimuli, that could be any kind of external stimuli that's coming into your head, right? So that could be CNN, it could be Fox, it could be news, it could be your neighbor, thinking that playing REM songs like the end of the world as we know it, and like just people. It could be bank accounts, it could be stocks, it could be just people's fear for toilet paper in the grocery store. It could be you have full control. Like, you have a mind gatekeeper. You can be the gatekeeper of your own mind and decide what stimuli am I going to let in my mind and what stimuli am I going to keep out. And so I tell people, spend, if you need to look at the news, no more than 15 minutes at a certain time every single day. If it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoon, if it's at night, whatever it is, that's the time for 15 minutes. You get your little taste of what's going on with the news voyeuristically, and that's it. And if there's something that is applicable to you while you're at home, because the government is telling you this, the state's telling you this, the feds are telling you this, cool. Follow it, do your thing. But you have to protect what information is coming in, because let's be real, some of that information is legit, some of it is sensationalistic, some of it is people trying to make money off of this crisis. It's not all good, and you need to protect yourself. Then as far as that concept of escapism, I think there's healthy escapism and then there's unhealthy escapism, right? Escapism of playing some video games here and there, as long as it's not all day. Escapism where you're doing some other stuff that you want to do. You're cleaning your house, you're organizing your life, and then you're spending a little time watching movies, or you're spending a little time doing something else that you love, or having a drink at night or something before you go to sleep. That's totally fine. But if you're my friend who's sitting there getting hammered all day long so that he can shoot a video at night, sorry, I'm just going to keep ragging on my friend. But yeah. There's healthy things you can do during this time period. And it's like, this is not spring break, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not a week off
right.
to just party because you're at home. This is an extended period of time. So, if you did the first week like spring break, and now you got to take things a little more seriously. You can't just party this entire time because your boss isn't regulating what you're doing right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, that seems like a really good spot to, a good bit of advice to wrap this up with. Where can people find you?
So my website is reefkarim.com, reefkarim.com. And also I'm writing a manifesto, like a letter to the world about the state that the world is in right now. I don't think we're just in this pandemic of a virus. I think we're in this pandemic of fear.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot we can learn how we can be better people because of this the state that we're in. And so I give people advice in this manifesto, and that's going to be at themindismedicine.com. And that's going to be coming out soon. So you can look out for that, because I'm a big believer that, most of what we can do in life and most of how we save ourselves in life comes from our mind. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily come from a pill. It doesn't come from following a guru. It comes from our own mind, and we can be guided and get advice, but ultimately it's us. We're the gatekeepers. We decide.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on with us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Mike?
Ladies and gentlemen, be sure to give this thing a rating and review. New podcast every single Wednesday. I'm Silent Mike, 2Ks, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube.
I am at the Jim McD on all the social medias, and you can find the show on Instagram. 50% facts, 4% is a word, and the website is coming probably this week, finally, after all this time. I got a little time on my hands, kind of, so I'm going to straighten this stuff out.